monitoring the emotional facial reactions of individuals with antisocial personality disorder during the retrieval of self-defining memories. Abstract. While a deficit in the recognition of facial expression has been demonstrated in persons with antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, few studies have investigated how individuals with ASPD produce their own emotional facial expressions. This study examines the production of facial emotional expressions of male inpatients with ASPD in a forensic hospital compared with a control group as they retrieve autobiographical memories. This design constitutes a specific ecological experimental approach fostering the evocation of personal feelings. Two indicators characterizing the activation of facial expression were used: activation of emotional action units and emotional dominance. The results showed that individuals with ASPD-1 activated angrier facial expressions than control participants for both indicators. 2. Displayed a higher dominance of angry facial expressions during the retrieval of positive self-defining memories than control participants, and 3. Recalled significant memories that were less associated with neutral facial states than the control sample, regardless of the valence of their memories. These findings highlight the core role of anger in ASPD and the possible development of pathological anger, which would distinguish trajectories toward anxious or mood disorders and trajectories characterized by external disorders. Introduction. Facial expressions, FEs, are part of body language and can spontaneously convey internal experiences or be intentionally adjusted to allow social communication, interaction, and regulation. Under 4. While research has mainly focused on the ability to recognize emotional facial expressions and has identified difficulties in FE recognition in various mental and personality disorders, 5.8. Fewer studies have investigated the ability to produce emotional FEs in personality disorders, especially in individuals with antisocial personality disorders, ASPD 9-10. However, ASPD is associated with emotional disturbance, and subjects with ASPD are generally described as self-centered, impulsive, and callous. They find it difficult to conform to laws or norms, lack empathy and concern for others, and encounter difficulties in having a stable relationship. Anti et al. 90 examined emotional facial responses in the general population with varying levels of impulsive aggression, which is a trait of ASPD. While they watched a violent film or comedy show, they found that participants with a high level of impulsive aggression globally expressed more anger than individuals with a low level of impulsive aggression, and more anger regardless of the type of film, comedy or violent. 9-9. Consistent with studies on hostile attribution in ASPD subjects, 12-13, the authors reported evidence of the specific status of anger in persons with a high level of impulsive aggression who might misinterpret their environment as generally threatening and for whom anger is like a personality trait. Even though anger seems to play a core role in individuals with ASPD from a clinical point of view, 14, the scientific literature is limited and unclear about how individuals with ASPD experience anger. Contrary to the findings of Fanti et al., 9, Kuneke et al., 10 found that antisocial offenders with different levels of psychopathy assessed in German forensic psychiatric hospitals and correctional facilities did not differ from control participants on their corrugator muscle response to the observation of the FEs of others. Moreover, Lobestale et al. 15 asked ASPD participants to recall a conflictual event and to describe how they felt and what they wanted to do during it. Although they expected that individuals with ASPD would deny their anger, the participants did not express any abnormal anger. Nevertheless, the authors argued that it was difficult to measure anger objectively and considered that individuals with ASPD should experience more anger than what they found in their study. In that same line, the study of emotional expression in patients with ASPD is particularly important because it allows us to examine the ability to communicate one's own emotional states and to explain possible difficulties in social interactions, especially in inducing fearful or aggressive responses. In these disorders, it is necessary to better articulate the person's subjective emotional experience and what they are able to communicate about it. Most studies of the emotional experiences of ASPD subjects have used experimental designs, and their emotional responses were not studied from personal material, but from image bases or external media. To our knowledge, no study has examined the spontaneous and personal emotional experiences arising from their own life history. The present study thus examined the emotional responses of participants with ASPD during the retrieval of self-defining memories, SDM, to mirror their own experiences as closely as possible. SDMs are particular autobiographical memories that are vivid, emotionally intense, frequently recalled, and concern long-lasting or unresolved issues. 16. They are particularly associated with the construction of identity and help to maintain self-coherence, particularly during times of difficult transitions or upheaval. 17. Compared with autobiographical memories, SDMs are subjectively more important, emotionally more activating, and are associated more with events playing a central role in the construction of identity. 18. Thus, SDMs are appropriate for exploring the expressivity of spontaneous and personal emotions, and provide an ecological paradigm to analyze the emotions felt by persons with ASPD. As oral tasks rule out the use of electromyography because movements due to non-emotional contractions or nonverbal communication cause interference in data collection, 1921, we assessed facial responses using facial coding software, facereader, 22. Unlike electromyography, which may be obtrusive because of the electrodes applied to the face, facereader is a non-invasive technology that requires the use of a video camera. It accounts for the activation of several emotional action units, and for the joint activation of several facial muscles corresponding to a given emotional facial expression. In the past decade, it has been used widely in a variety of contexts, such as psychology, 5/23/24, social psychology, 25, and advertising research, 26. It is a facial analysis program based on the Facial Action Coding System, FACS, 27/28. FACS is based on the visually discernible movement of a set of facial muscles referred to as 44 action units and on several head and eye movements. The joint activation of action units and their intensity may thus be regarded as the expression of one of the 6 basic emotions: joy, anger, sadness, fear, disgust, and surprise. Facereader thus overcomes the limitation of electromyography, which cannot clearly distinguish different types of emotions, notably because of the contraction of the corrugator muscle in several negative emotions. Thus, facereader makes it possible to discriminate the activation of basic emotions, at least as well as expert humans, and more quickly. 25/29. Lewinsky et al. 29 proved the reliability of facereader to categorize the activation of basic emotions, and Gandolf et al. 30 demonstrated its effectiveness for capturing FEs during the retrieval of SDMs. The present study therefore examined the emotional activation of forensic patients with ASPD during the retrieval of important personal events, such as SDMs. We hypothesize that individuals with ASPD produce more anger-associated FEs than healthy participants during the retrieval of SDMs. Additionally, we expected that this overactivation of anger-associated FEs may lead to an underactivation of the other emotional or non-emotional FEs, happiness, sadness, fear, and neutral.